Good morning, y'all. This is Fresh with Fresh and Fire Backyard Living. I wanted to take y'all with me this morning to take a look at what has survived and what hasn't after our first frost. I don't want to get this door. So, this is my usual routine on a Saturday morning. Getting up. Oh, let's see if y'all can see me. Getting up. And sorry, no makeup. Wait a minute, that's still crazy looking. Okay. Getting up and working in the yard, checking on the garden, doing projects. Back up and at them. Haven't been feeling great this week, so I feel better today. So it's a perfect time to, after trying to get the yard ready and everything like that. And I don't know, I think me and Fire were fighting something. So, but we're all good now. Just sleepy. No makeup. Hope I got the coal out my eyes. Y'all excuse me if I didn't. But I think we fared pretty well after this first frost. So it's stuff is looking pretty good. I gotta open up these greenhouses before the sun hits them. But all in all, I think we did pretty good. Here's a view of the greenhouses, and I'll show you another view, the nighttime view of what we were looking at, like during the night, during these cold low 30s. We utilized the incandescent Christmas lights. I couldn't use them all in all of the greenhouses because I had some fuses blown in some of them, so I have to work on those. But they're pretty good quality greenhouses. Christmas lights I got on Amazon, but you know, any type of incandescent Christmas light will work for what you're trying to do as far as keep your plants warm and extend the growing season in your greenhouses. So, but yeah, so we're doing pretty good. Of course, the fruit trees are fine. Actually, I'm surprised they still have leaves on them. They didn't even miss a beat. So, blueberries over there are fine. Everything else is looking good. Y'all, come on, let me take y'all with me while I sip on my coffee, trying to wake up. So this is the setup for the my precious. I took one of the miniature ones and put it over the whole bed for the Thai Roselle. I'm gonna get as much of a harvest that I can off of these. So that was priority number one to me. Those and of course the citrus. But they have been looking really good the whole time. So let y'all take a peek of those. Oh. Yes, all nice and cozy and warm in here. So get this open so the whatever bees are left around can pollinate some more. But yeah, they did really well. This is my first time actually having such a large crop of these. But you can see we got the incandescent Christmas lights. It was a late night and we were trying to get this stuff up, so we just threw them on them. As long as you have them in here so they can take advantage of that heat from those Christmas lights. But let's see if I can get a close up. See, I got some harvesting to do this morning. Got some nice fat calyxes going on there. But yeah, they're just all snug as a bug in a rug. So that did really well. So I'm happy about that. And as far as this right here, this has the greens in it. I kind of put this up because I had just planted these greens and I didn't want them to get upset. push this leg out. But I also have my 2 favorite tomato bushes. They were still full of fruit, and I'm like, well, why not leave them, see what happens. I picked the right fruit. But so I just threw the greenhouse up, like, well, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and just protect them and see what's what with them. So all in all, I think it worked out pretty well. And this one didn't even have any Christmas lights or anything. Now the tomato plants, you can see they did take a little bit of frost damage, but we still got, for the most part, I think they're looking good. Still got tomatoes on the vine, looking right. That is the Prairie Fire. Let's see if I can get a close-up of that. That's the Prairie Fire, one of my all-time faves from Baker Creek. Never had that tomato. Grew it last year in a pot, and it survived the frost, lugging it in and out, and kept on producing until it was tired of producing. So I knew it would keep on going for me. And now this one is a new one for me. This is the Brad's Crazy Cherry. This thing has been going all season, and let's see if I can find it where my heart was torn. I didn't want to. Look at that. Still full of fruit. So these leaves didn't even get any frost damage. So that Brad's Crazy Cherry just is a powerhouse and very tasty. So even got the zinnias still pretty much happy in here. I just kind of left those up, so because I didn't really need to move them at the moment, because I was still able to plant my collard greens in here in the bed. I threw the rest of the cabbages and everything in here until I could get those planted today. But everybody looks pretty good, happy and healthy, so I can't be mad at that at all. So wow, I'm still amazed about these zinnias still being alive. Seems like as long as you keep the frost out of them, they'll be good. So, and these back here, these are some starts that I bought. The seedlings are in the front. I decided to, since I was running late as usual, have some seedlings so I could at least get a harvest soon, and then have my own that I grew from seed up front, and just kind of harvest as it comes along. So yeah. Now over here, oh wow, would you look at that? Still got marigolds still alive. I'm thinking since they were so close to the deck in the house. Remember I told y'all about that microclimate. I'm going to talk more about it later, but they're still going. That's pretty cool. One of them has a little damage, but yeah, this is where the citrus are. We just kind of, this isn't the greenhouse that I'm going to leave over them. This is actually supposed to go over one of the beds, but that hasn't arrived in the mail yet. So we just threw this big one over them and threw all the other plants in there just to make them happy and get them through this little freeze. But as you can see, they're doing well. I went on ahead and did this. They might not have necessarily needed it for this frost, but I didn't really want to. I want to pick off the fruit at my leisure. So I didn't want to process it. Not that I have that much fruit right now anyway, because I thinned them out because I still haven't put them in the ground. But I didn't want to pick off the fruit right now. I didn't want them to, get set back or anything. This was just like a little added addition to keep them happy. We still even got a little mulberry on the Pakistani mulberry. Hibiscus is looking a little burnt on the edges. It might just need some water. But even my geranium is still going, and a volunteer tomato plant in the pot, they're still going. And the bay leaf, that's still going strong. So I gotta move that in a shady area now. It's getting a little warmer. Doesn't like direct sun, but yeah, everything's looking pretty good. The banana plants are still doing well. That guava, that might look a little I don't know what's up with the leaves right there. It's looking pretty good though. Can't complain. But everything else in here, the citrus really isn't really gonna have a setback. That fruit might have froze, but again, that's why I put the lights on. I didn't feel like picking and doing all that stuff. I'm gonna just let me throw them in the greenhouse, throw these lights on them, and call it a day. But yeah, everybody's looking pretty good. That's the Lisbon lemon. That's the variegated pink eureka, and back there still got some fruit on the Miho Satsuma, and right there we got the Calamandan still full of fruit. See if I can get a shot of that. This is the one, since it's so full of fruit. Can't get it at an angle. Hold on for a second. There we go. So this is the one that I really didn't want to harvest, because this year, since I have a nice amount of fruit on this one, see if I can get a shot of that. Come on, get out the way, leaf. I wanted to make some marmalade jam or something, you know, because these are they're tasty, but they're sour, but they're really good. So I was thinking I'd make a little jar of marmalade jam or something. And look who came back. That's crazy. I swear, that's my MVP right there, that Gerbera Daisy. I've had this thing now for, what, I said 3 years in my short, but it might be 4 years. It just keeps on going. I keep on feeding it and overwintering it, and it keeps on going. I love this little thing. But yeah, everything's looking good. Still got a couple of lemons back there on the bush, and the Barbados cherries are looking good. Everything's looking good in here. But you know, especially this one spot, as you can see, the sun is coming through. So if you use these greenhouses, you got to get out here before the sun hits them really well, because it's like an oven. They get super hot in here. So. These right here are the plants, the shade plants that we had under the deck. It wasn't enough time to move them or try to get stuff started inside, so I just threw a big piece of plastic on them, and that seemed to do the trick. So we can take that off now. I think all the frost is over. Get y'all out of the sun. But yeah, so got some camellia bushes over there. They didn't really need to be covered up. They happened to be under there, but I was mainly trying to protect my ceramic pot where I put the towel on, and my Pegasus begonias. I hope that's what they're called. If they're not, I'll put the right name in the description. But trying to think. I think Garden Answer introduced me to these things on one of her videos where she did a little summer arrangement. And when we made that trip to Michigan, I found some. I haven't seen any anywhere, and fell in love with them. They are so just big and leafy and juicy. So I definitely want to bring a couple of these cuttings in the house and propagate them. But yeah, that was priority number one, to save these babies. I might even transplant the whole plant inside and see if I can overwinter it. I haven't done a lot of research on that as far as overwintering this type of plant, but I've seen a couple of people do some things, so I'm really hopeful. But these beauties are just, I don't know if I can save the colas, but these Pegasus begonias were priority number one in my pot. So, and I plan on overwintering the dahlias. I always say that wrong. As well in pots, taking advantage of that microclimate underneath, beside the house. I've done it before, and it does work, because the one that I had one that I was doing for a couple of years, and last year forgot about it, and the frost came. You know, I didn't do what I needed to do and then come back. So they are, at least in our area, you can overwinter them. Just put them up against the house and put some mulch on them, and they should be good to go. So, but yeah, everything under the plastic is done well. So there's another one of the camellias I bought. I'll tell y'all about that soon, but it didn't need to be under the plastic, just happened to be in the way. But but yeah, everything under the plastic, under the deck did well as far as the shade plants. Even the hostas are still alive. They're gonna die back soon though, so I'm not trying to keep those. They just need to die back and they'll come back next year. But yeah, so we're doing pretty good so far. Now my beautiful Thai asparagus beans, yeah, they didn't make it, but it was time anyway. So, and even the wing beans that actually came through in the end, they're looking crunchy and didn't make it, but it was time. It's time to rip all this out anyway. So a lot of times I don't have the heart to do it, because especially if it's still producing. But we just kind of moved the trellises out of the way. So, but we still have our kale down there, still going strong. I swear this red Russian kale will not stop. So got some parsley down there in the pot. That's not phased at all. But yeah, so this part I knew was gonna get hit. I cut the corn husk down. I haven't had time to really do too much fall arrangements or anything like that, but I just kind of threw it over the top of the sweet potatoes, just kind of a little added protection. But as you can see, sweet potatoes do not like frost. Hold on, let me see. But yeah, they took a hit and died back. But again, that's to be expected. All the vines that I worked up on the trellis have died back. But you know, it's time. We're gonna get in here this weekend and probably pull these sweet potatoes out. There's the other bed that took a hit was the okra. Well, again, that's to be expected. It did well the first day, but and the second day actually, but that last day, it had had enough. And there was a random sweet potato vine. I didn't plant all my sweet potato slips that I bought from the big box store, and I just threw 2 of them over here and they planted themselves. They're gone. So still got a couple of pods, okra pods, so I'll probably harvest those for seed. But yeah, strawberry whiskey barrel still good. I don't think anything phases that. That stayed out in the 16 degrees and wasn't even phased. So yeah, my Florida sunflower is gone, but it will definitely be back with a vengeance next year. So I'm hoping, because I forgot to pull my pepper plants over here, and they were doing all right that first night. And so I threw a frost cloth over them because it was cold and I was tired and I didn't want to harvest right then or try to pull anything up. But I think it's still viable. It was just starting to produce. I got my labels all mixed up. I'm not even sure which one this one is, because I think I have it as, let's see, what is this one? I have it as the Nadero. It's all faded out. I think this is Jimmy Nadero. I think that's what you call this one. But it had just started to produce. But it's kind of small and flimsy, but I'm gonna try to overwinter and see if I can get a head start on next year. But yeah, so I think they didn't freeze, so that's good. Let's see about the other ones. Yeah, they're looking all pretty good, so I'm gonna pull these out today. But right here are my walk-in Egyptian onions and some chives. They're looking pretty okay. The bed's a mess. And right behind it, they're fine, of course. These are my tree collards. I knew they'd be fine. Now, if it hits in the 20s or 16 degrees, they don't like that at all. But around the 30s, freezing, they're fine. So I gotta feed those and get those going. So yeah, got a lot to do today. All right, as we come back over here to the smaller beds where I had the hibiscus that I planted really late in the season. I knew I didn't have the time or the energy to try to protect these like I did the main bed. So I just threw some sheets over it. It was kind of an experiment to see how far you need to go with protecting the hibiscus. It's I'm trying to think of hibiscus. I guess it would be considered tropical. Might be subtropical, but either way, it doesn't like the cold. So I can tell you that much. But so we're gonna see how these did. And I kind of already peeked under here. I saw they weren't doing that great. Yeah, as you can see, now these kind of slipped out of the side, so I knew they were gonna get burnt. But yeah, they do not like the cold. The calyxes still look like they are edible. They don't feel soft or mushy or anything. Still got that little crisp. My precious cosmos still are holding in there. So I might be able to, hopefully, it's Georgia, so we're gonna be back in the 70s next week. So they're doing okay. So might still have some food for the bees. The Gomphrena looks a little unhappy there. The leaves are all kind of burnt looking. And the Mexican sunflower the same. It might come back. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time to flip this bed to this weekend, so this might stay as is. The lemon verbena surprisingly is doing well. I'm not sure if y'all can see that back there. Check that out. Now this I just kind of threw in the bed. I really need to have it in a pot and bring it on in the house for the winter, or at the very least in a greenhouse. But so far the lemon verbena seems to be the winner out of this bed, which I'm very surprised by because it does not like the cold either. But the sheets were just enough to keep it warm and happy. Oh, my little zinnia broke, but still looks happy. So, but it's time for these to come out anyway. It's the end of the season. Cranberry hibiscus looking a little frayed, but the bottom leaves, the little younger leaves, still look good. So I might leave that in a little bit longer because I wanted to dry those leaves and make some tea. They take forever to bloom, so I knew I wasn't going to see those blooms. Let's check out this other bed. Let me get the pots out of the way. Oh yeah. Oh, well, this Thai Roselle seemed to be happy. Maybe it's depending on how much wind it got to it. It's a little frayed on the edges, a little fried, but that one looks pretty healthy. The rest of this stuff does not. Looks like something came and burned it all the way up. So the cosmoses are still looking good. Another Mexican sunflower. It might make it, but I think I'm gonna pull this stuff out if I have time this weekend. I love these things. They're so delicate and pretty. But yeah, they definitely need some type of extra protection if you plan on growing them, and know that you get frost. They like a long season to develop too, so make preparations ahead of time to protect them. So make sure you get a nice, good harvest. So as we come on over, the borage is not missed a beat. I planted this late in the season. Seems to be doing fine. But that's the not the herb garden. I need more coffee. That's the berry garden right here. Of course, everything in there is looking good. It wasn't enough to try to damage them anyway, and their leaves are going to be falling off soon. So, and over here we have the fig lane. I moved my bench over here. I'm going to jazz this up now that it's cool off and have my little seating area. Probably trim some of these limbs back too so it can get a little bit more light over here. I didn't want it this shaded. But yeah, the figs are looking good. I was worried about this LSU purple out here. I kind of forgot about it, but it's still looking good. I'm definitely going to cover it though over the season. I don't think it likes to be super, super cold. But, and of course, the other bushes I have right here are, why do I keep on drawing a blank with the names of these things? Put it in the comments. But yeah, they're doing good. They came from Michigan, so I knew they would be fine. And the figs back here are looking good. A little scorched on the leaves, but you know, actually the marigolds are still looking pretty darn good considering too. That one's already lost all its leaves. So, and the kiwi berries are looking good. So, just gotta get back here and do some cleaning up and rearranging. And as you can see, the fruit trees are fine. So, still debating, am I gonna spray these or not? I have the liquid copper, I believe it is, but they definitely need to be trimmed back. I'm not gonna let these get too big. That's my strategy with these. I'm gonna keep them to where I don't have to climb on a ladder and pick them off. And you can do that with your fruit trees. Don't let these fruit trees run you. You run these fruit trees. So, but yeah, they're all looking good. They need trimming. But yeah, everything else is looking good. So just have to do a little straightening up. But yeah, so far, I think we fared pretty well for the start of this cold growing season. So just have to get some more things in the ground and get it situated, and we should be good to go. As we move on up here to the herb garden, I had the little mini greenhouse over this area. I usually put lights in here, and I will on into the winter, but like I said, some of my lights, the fuse has blown, so I figured they'd be okay as long as they were covered up from the frost. So, and they were. So, still got lemon balm growing strong in there. The oregano still going. I don't think anything stops that. It needs to be trimmed back. Still got marshmallow root in here. And echinacea, I'm gonna trim that back. The leaves are getting hit with powdery mildew, but it still should be fine. We got our sage going. I did have some lemon verbena somewhere in the middle of all of this, but as you can see, the lemon balm kind of took over. I gotta dig that out so they can have a shot. But again, with the microclimate conversation, even this little mini greenhouse is close to the house, and I think it provided some heat because I could never get the name of these flowers right. I think they're called Ghirardelli, or I know that's the chocolate, but something similar. I'll put it in the comments or the link below or whatever. But these little flowers are still going, and they are definitely annual. So they'll drop their seeds and come back next year, but that frost didn't get them, so they must be happy right where they are. And looking on up, what do my wandering eyes see but my still beautiful sunflowers? So I'm so surprised they made it, but they're up against the house, so I think they were warm enough to still be going and providing some food for the bee this morning. So yeah, which is cool. I always like to feed the bees. The other ones were spent anyway, but the leaves are still looking good. Getting hit with powdery mildew because it's the end of the season. Of course, the pineapple guavas or fajoas, these are the younger ones I planted. They're doing just fine. They weren't going to be fazed by any of this. I've had these in the ground for probably about a year now. So again, there against the house, you got that microclimate going, so they were going to be fine. And on up, as you can see, some of the other sunflowers, I gotta come and get these seeds. They were spent anyway, but yeah, still going. Like that one's my biggest one over here as far as the pineapple guavas. And my beautiful rose bush is still going strong. So yeah, it looks like it's coming in for another round. So we're gonna keep on trying to work on it, make it pretty. But and on up, these are my more older established pineapple guavas. We're looking good. There's a little bit of dieback on that one. I'm not sure why that happened before the frost in the middle of the summer. Maybe it was something about I know they don't like to have their feet wet, and since this one is at the bottom of the hill, I planted them over here because I wanted them to take advantage of this wall and this heat in the wintertime, and I put some lava rocks as bedding underneath. So they've been fine and happy so far. But I know since this is at the end of the hill, maybe it got its feet wet or whatever. We're gonna cut that back. But the rest of them are huge, happy, and healthy. Hopefully by next year I'll have some fruit. I gotta get in here and feed these today. But yeah, everything's looking good so far. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Hold on, let me do the YouTube thing. Like, share, subscribe. Sorry, y'all, I need more coffee, so I'm silly.